What up? Uncle Benji here. Welcome to the channel. This is going to be the first of many videos that you'll see on this channel. The focus of the channel is oral history of my hip-hop collection, which I've been collecting for almost 30 years now, from CDs, vinyl, tapes, merch, anything I can get my hands on for the kind of hip-hop that I love. I will shell out my dollars to support, buy, invest, have this collection, and been collecting for so long, and feel like it's time for me to share some of it for people to be able to see, not just what I have, but the history behind acquiring it, the stories of the scenes at the times when that stuff happened. So that's going to be the focus of the channel, but today is going to be a little different. This is the first video, and I wanted to, before the end of 2025, I wanted to be able to highlight a lot of the stuff that I purchased in 2025, and not just everything I purchased, because I'm not going to go through all that. It'd be too much. But we have stuff that was just released in 2025, and that's really the focus, as well as certain releases that maybe albums that came out in 2024 but the vinyl didn't drop until 2025, or albums that got brand new releases on vinyl this year. Even if they were older albums, it was a remastered release, a special edition, something that hadn't been on vinyl for a long time. So there's a few of those that I'm going to talk about too. But without further ado, let's just get into it, because we've got a lot to get into. To start off, we have Billy Woods and August Fanon Gollywog remix album. This is one of the newest additions to my collection. I was waiting on it a while because I also ordered the amazing VHS tape that Backwood Studios put out, and that I think probably delayed the order for me getting the vinyl, where a lot of people already had it. But it doesn't matter. I mean, whenever I got this record, it's going to be something that I'm going to be playing a lot for the rest of my life, because it's an incredibly special album. Woods is my favorite artist in the world, and Fanon is the best producer out right now, on a historic run. And it's the first time we've had a full length together. And while it's a remix album, it doesn't take anything away from it. Because of the way that they did it, they added verses, recontextualized verses, guest appearances, the artwork all throughout the packaging, the video dropping on Halloween night. Everything was so intentionally designed. Yeah, again, I could just go on about this album forever, but we'll get to the next one. But that's where we're kicking it off. And there's a lot of Backwood stuff here to start. It's my favorite label, is Backwoods Studios. But, let's get into more from Backwood Studios. We got Dose One and Steel Tip Dove, all portrait, no chorus. This is a really cool album to have on Backwood Studios, as Dose One is a legend in this hip hop scene. I said I've been a fan of this stuff for 30 years. He's been making music for longer than that. He's been in it forever. And so my earliest memories hearing about Dose One were him as a battle MC at Scribble Jam, which was close to my neck of the woods here in Indianapolis, over in Cincinnati. And there's still videos today of him just destroying people in battles, way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, now he makes music for video games and does all sorts of stuff. But to have this album on Backwoods with, guest appearances, you got Open Mike Eagle, M. Saeed, Fatboi Sharif, Billy Woods, and Micah 9 on the album. Just legends, and the styles that are thrown down on this album, like nobody sounds like Dose. He has his very own unique voice and rhyming style, and he has many styles within that style. So, this is, if you are a rapper who likes real rap and being inspired by people that really are creative with what they do, this is an album to check out. Now we got the original Gollywog. I won't talk too much about it because we already talked about the OG, but we got the amazing artwork by A. Richter, just one of the best photographers in rap today, and all the different beat makers on this album, just spectacular. Like, everything Woods ever does is amazing. So check out that Fanon remix. Check out this. They should be in your rotation. You should know about this stuff already. Continue with the Backwoods theme. We got Prem Rock's album, Did You Enjoy Your Time Here? Prem Rock not just an amazing album, and this is his best album that he's released, but maybe the best dude that I've met and formed a friendship with in this scene. I reviewed Prem Rock's albums like way back to, I don't know, the early 2010s when I was reviewing stuff. I reviewed a lot of his stuff and have always been a big fan. And anytime I've connected with him in person at a Backwoods event, he's treated me like family. You know, but this album is really special. And Prem Rock had a heck of a year. We'll get into a little bit more of his year in a little bit. But yeah, did you enjoy your time here at Prem Rock? Definitely should be on your list to listen to. This is Armanhammer and the Alchemist Mercy. Everyone had been waiting for this album for a while. This is an alternate cover. I got multiple variants of this album. This is probably my favorite cover though of the the different ones that were offered out there. I think this was an Australian record label that put this one out. And what more can you say about Alchemist and Armanhammer? Like two classic albums they've made now. You can get something new out of this album every time you listen to it. Elucid and Woods, two of the best MCs out there, and the back and forth rhymes, especially on this album, are a real highlight. It's something that those who've been a fan of Armanhammer for a long time, we love those back and forth rhymes, and they gave it to us on this one. Oh man, Gabe Nandez and Preservation, Sortliage. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but this album, if it's not my favorite of the year, it's in the top two. Like, Gabe Nandez kind of came out of nowhere. He was a guy I was aware of for a few years, but for whatever reason didn't tap in fully. This album changed all that. This is an addictive album that has a lot of intentional craftsmanship. I mean, I think a lot of it was made in New Orleans, where Preservation lives, and Gabe went down there to record in person, talk about themes, what they wanted to do. And yeah, it's all so intentional. I mean, Gabe's rhymes like just burrow their way into your head. The more you listen to this thing, it's a lifestyle album that you can listen to over and over and over again and get so many gems from every song. And I've had the pleasure of getting to meet Gabe at the Chicago Woods show, and saw him perform there and at New York at the Woods show there. An incredible performer. If you get a chance to see Gabe Nandez, do it. Even if he's opening, he will tear it down, guaranteed. Human Air Club. Human Air Club at Kenny's House. Another album that just kind of came out of nowhere and surprised me. I mean, not like a true hip-hop album, as this is a jazz band, but you got a drummer and two keyboard players that are doing different things that create a sound that's so full and rich. It's like hard to explain the sound that they can make with just the three of them. And then it's like, with their connections, the rappers they get to perform on this album. A track with Quelle Chris and Cavalier, a track with Elucid, one of the best tracks of the year, a track with K to the I, a track with Pink Sifu, a track with More Mother and Billy Woods. Like, it just does not get better than that. Kenny Siegel did the artwork himself. This album is a must. We've talked a little about August Fanon already. Well, this is a collab album with Child Actor. This is all instrumental. A lot of these beats show up on projects that they've done with rappers, but I mean, might be my two favorite beat makers in the game right now. Incredibly different styles, but everything these guys do is, I mean, Child Actor has a recent album with De Niro Ferrar that is incredible, and what he's doing on there production-wise is really moving rap production forward, in a crazy way. And you look at the back, it's like Child Actor has 25 songs, August Fanon has 10 on his side. Very different way of doing things. Compact, shorter little experiments or beats, Child Actor, and Fanon has more fleshed out things, so it's a great contrast, side by side on that one. Okay, this is 3 albums. The Triple Beam Collection from Shrapnel. Talked a little bit about Prem Rock a minute ago. Again, one of the best guys. Like, reason why he's one of the best MCs of the year. He has an incredible solo album and then 3 of these collab albums with Curly Castro with 3 different producers. This one with Raffi is my favorite. Raffi from Detroit, one of my favorite producers in the world right now. And album is incredible. All 3 of these albums are incredible. They all sound completely different. My favorite thing about these albums is that when I saw the Billy Wood show in Nashville this year, the 3 different Wood show I went to, this one in Nashville was on my birthday, and my guy Premrock knew it was my birthday, and before the show, gifted me these 3 albums. This was crazy because these albums weren't available anywhere at this time. You couldn't order them online, couldn't stream them. So for like maybe a month, maybe more, I got to listen to these albums before anybody else did. I have to pay a dime. You know, it's just a gift to me from Premrock. Again, like, just the best dude and a better rapper, like incredible rapper, and so excited to see what's coming from him and Curly Castro, my Temple University brethren. Excited to see what's coming from them next year. I'm hoping to get out to Philly sometime to see them perform out there. It's been too long since I've been back out there, but yeah, check out all 3 of these albums. This album right here is maybe the most underrated album of the year. This is the Tomorrow Kings Chicago group, and it's very close in my mind right now because I just got to see them perform up in Chicago and got a lot of incredible video. I mean, this is 6 MCs that live all across the country now. They're all from Chicago, so the fact that I got to see them all perform together in Chicago was a really special treat that I don't take for granted. Earl Subliminal was a one member that couldn't perform there, but the guys were nice enough to sign my stuff. I even got the artist who did the cover to sign it. Def C, who makes an incredible guest appearance, signed it as well. I need to track down Curly Castro, who has a guest appearance on there, track down No Subliminal. But this is an album that not enough people listen to that will be high up on my end of the year album list. Like top 5 album for me this year. Check out Salt, Tomorrow Kings. Sticking on the Chicago theme, we got Comemos here from Rich Jones. This is another real life person that I've connected with this year. That's one of the best dudes I've ever met in my life. Rich is more than just an artist. He's a connector, a curator, collaborator, a supporter. What he does for the Chicago scene is incredible. I've been up to Chicago probably like 6 times in the last 3 months to see shows. And a lot of it is because of what Rich is putting on up there. He's doing all the heavy lifting behind the scenes for this scene and trying to bring up the Midwest, and also dropping just incredible music at the same time. He raps, he sings, he does it all. Like this is put out on $3 Pistol, Zilla Rocca's label. It's a second in a series of albums that Rich is doing. Amazing beat selection. Like, Rich knows how to make an album, and this album needs to be on more end of year lists. It's an incredible listen. Check it out. This is Doof Togo by my man Doofus and Il Sugi. Doof is an artist especially that I've really become a big fan of in the last couple of years. Nobody sounds like Doof. He has his own style, and I've never heard a whack a verse, a bad beat from him. He's a real old school guy, makes his beats on real equipment, and has a rhyme style that is so engaging and makes me laugh. And I know there's a lot more great things to come from him, but this was a super limited release. Only 25 of these got released. I'm so glad they put out a physical release, and I tell all artists, like, even if you just do 25, get a physical release, because anyone who owns this, man, I don't see how you wouldn't be a fan of Doof and Il Sugi for life, because it's a special project, special artwork, and you get to be in the rare club of someone who owns this thing. Really, really cool album. Open Mike Eagle, Neighborhood Gods Unlimited. Open Mike Eagle is a guy that I've been a fan of forever. We both used to post on Philaflava message boards way back in the day. I mean, this is pre-2010, you know, and once he started to really pump music out there, supported everything he's ever done because he's just an amazing rapper, and he does so many other things amazing too. I mean, you can watch his live streams, can watch content that he's contributed to, you know, on TV, like writing for stuff outside of rap music. But this is one of his better albums. It's he's a very emotionally resonant writer, and a lot of stuff, you know, hits close to home, stuff that we all experience in life, but always with a supreme skill of what he's putting down. He's got some great friends and, you know, homies that he rhymes with all the time now. Video Dave, Still Rift, you know, and some amazing beats on here. Child actor beats all over here. Like just a great album. Open Mike Eagle, Neighborhood Gods Unlimited. Now we're getting into one of my favorite albums of the year, Mike Showbiz. Really cool packaging, artwork for just one of the best artists, one of the best label heads next to Backwood Studios, 10K Entertainment. It's probably my favorite label out there. And, you know, Mike is just a monster. I mean, I don't even, at his age, his discography is pretty much bulletproof compared to anyone else. And this is arguably his best album. This and Burning Desire, which he put out the year prior, I think are his two best. Just 24-track, self-produced masterpieces. Like this album is so great. I've listened to it so much this year. Can't recommend it enough. And then following up, one of my latest purchases, Band of the Century. This is another Mike release where he was on Tiny Desk this year, and the shit was so great that they decided to put it out on vinyl, the whole Tiny Desk. So this is just a treat to be able to have something like this. Mike rocking with a live band. You really feel the emotion in his performance, whether you watch it or you spin this. Like, it's, you know, anything 10K puts out, the artwork is always super on point. Anything from that 10K label, get it. We got Rock Marciano and DJ Premier, The Coldest Profession. You know, two people I'm huge fans of forever. DJ Premier going way back, obviously into the 90s, and Rock has been, you know, the last 15 years as good as any MC out there. And anything Rock puts out, I buy. While the DJ Premier fit may not be the best with Rock's style, you know, rocking over more drumless stuff most of the time, but this album is still great. You know, like it's DJ Premier and Rock Marciano. What more can you say? Here we got Bruiser Wolf, one of the best MCs out there right now. He's been on a crazy run. I've been a fan of him for the last 4 years or so, but the stuff he's doing this year is really kicking it up a notch. And this is my favorite project from him this year, Potluck. He had another project with Harry Fraud that's amazing that came out at the end of the year, but just the amount of guest appearances this guy is just destroying everywhere. No one is putting words together, the wordplay, at the level of Bruiser Wolf. It's like you could just rewind almost every verse he has multiple times and find things that you're missing, because his similes and metaphors and wordplay are just on the next level. And he's hilarious, and he's a great dude that I've met in person. You know, Bruiser Wolf. This is Fatboi Sharif and Drive By Let Me Out, another of the most underrated albums of the year. Fatboi Sharif has had an incredible year, released 3 other EPs, maybe 4 other EPs. This is the one full length he has, and the chemistry with Drive By's production and his rhymes is, it's really great. Like, this album gets your stank face on, you know, but Sharif, like, is such a supernova talented artist that is pushing this genre forward like nobody else, because you never know what he's going to do on a track. And, you know, this one may not be quite as avant-garde as some of the stuff that he's released this year, but it's probably more in my wheelhouse. And yeah, like, it's a spectacular album. Crazy artwork, you know. Listen to this. Another Fatboi Sharif, this release is with GDP, Endocrine. I really, really love this EP, man. Like, GDP's a guy I've been a fan of for a long time, way back when he was making stuff like with AM Breakups and that label, 2000, early 2010s or so. GDP was always a rapper who's on a track, like, got my attention. Kind of lost track of some of the stuff he was doing over the years, but so glad that I got back on track with this, because he makes the beats on here. They're incredible. And the chemistry with him and Fatboi Sharif, like, it's what rap is about. Like, totally different styles, but the chemistry works, like, so well on this. And GDP's also a guy that I got to meet this year at the Makami show in Chicago. He was there up front like me, vibing to it. I got to tell him what a fan I was of his work, and I'm super excited for anything that GDP has coming out in the future. And of course, Fatboi Sharif. They get, like, just an incredible, incredible artist. This is DJ Haram Beside Myself. Very close, even though this wasn't released on Backwood, she's very close with the Backwoods label. Tours with Woods and Armanhammer and Elucid all the time. I feel bad because when I went to see the Woods show in New York this year, they had shit like 15 artists were performing before Woods. And at one point, I stepped outside, get some air, maybe have a smoke, talk to some people. And the one set that I'm really mad that I missed was DJ Haram. When I stepped outside, I saw most everything else, and I even put it out on Twitter like, man, I missed your set, I effed up, you know? So now I have to make sure that I go see Elucid in February in Chicago so that I can see the proper DJ Haram set, because her music really, you know, does something to me. Like, it's, I love to listen to this album when I'm in the car. It really gets me going, you know? And she's a special artist that gives me a different sound than a lot of the stuff I regularly listen to. So make sure you're hip with DJ Haram. This is Vivid Visions by The Expert. He's a producer out of Dublin, and he's got so many awesome MCs on this album. But I will say that Def C makes like 3 appearances and really makes an indelible impression on this album. It's a very psychedelic, trippy album with a lot of tales and stories from psychedelic events that people, these rappers went through, or just they're conjuring up of memories. But I mean, the artwork is really cool. And like I said, Def C destroys it. He has 3 guest appearances. Like, so these are some of my favorite kind of albums, these producer-led albums that feature lots of rappers on those. Like, I just put out a list today of my favorite of the year, so check that out on Twitter at Uncle Benji. Oh, man. We got Pink Sifu, Black Antique. Pink Sifu is absolutely one of my favorite artists ever, not just rap. It's hard for me to sometimes rank him with rappers because he's so much more than a rapper. He's in that lineage of Prince, Erykah Badu, Stevie Wonder, a guy who does everything musically and is a master collaborator and a visionary. And this album came out early in January and didn't get nearly the attention it deserved, in my opinion. I think it's starting to get more because he tacked on Onyx at the end of the year, which is its own album, but it's also like a deluxe version because it's all the same vision that he has with this. And now people are going back and listening to Black Antique and realizing how tremendous this album is, how tremendous everything that Pink Sifu does is. I mean, I've been a fan of his since 2019, 2020, which is when he really kind of started becoming a thing. And the amount of amazing work that he's dropped in that time span, it's he's building a legacy of one of the best artists of all time. And the best live show I've ever seen is a Pink Sifu show. If you ever get a chance to see Pink Sifu live, do it. There's just so much great shit. Like, this is my favorite rapper of the year right here, Boldy James, also out of Detroit, like Bruiser Wolf. This is a collab with Nicholas Craven, Late to My Own Funeral. Boldy and Craven have made a lot of work together. This was the first of 2 albums that they put out this year. They also made Criminally Attached, which I have not received on vinyl yet, but I cannot wait to get, because Criminally Attached is one of my favorite albums of the year. But this album is fabulous too. And I mean, the packaging again, the artwork, the design, really cool all around. And Boldy's just, he just doesn't miss. I think he put out like 9 albums this year, which is why he's my rapper of the year. And at least, 5 or 6 of those are upper echelon. And even the ones I don't love, it's more about the beats for me, not ranking them like super high, but they're all like, Boldy just does not know how to drop a bad verse. The details in his verses, the amount of his true life that he puts into his verses is always evident. And man, what a life he has lived. And we continue with more Boldy James. This one is with V-Don, who's one of the best producers out there. And like, this has a 4-song run on here from Split the Bill, Ms. Porter, No Guessing Games, and Dr. Demento. That's as good as any 4-song run I've heard from anyone this year. And it's, one of those 5 or 6 favorite Boldy James albums from this year. So if you're intimidated by all the different albums that he put out this year, this is definitely one to check out. As is this one, Boldy's album with Chuck Strangers. There's a video for Whale Fishing that came out earlier this year that's great. But, Chuck Strangers is a really, really great producer. And he knows what works well with Boldy and, gives him the perfect canvas. And one of Boldy's best albums of the year, no doubt. And we got Earl Sweatshirt, Live, Laugh, Love here. Most of this produced by Theravada, like incredible production. Lucky enough to see Earl on tour very recently, where he brought along one of my favorite rappers, Niante, brought along Z Lopers, brought along Liv, brought along Cletus Strap. And Earl is just one of those guys. Not only is he an incredible artist, but he puts me on to so much art. Like, so many rappers that I love now, like, I found out through Earl Sweatshirt. So, when he recommends something, you can pretty much be guaranteed it's some good shit. He's a real luminary out here in rap. And obviously, Earl is, when he drops, you need to be paying attention. This is Este Nac Brap 2, also with V-Don. Este Nac is incredible. Like, he also put out about 5 or 6 projects this year, and one of just the best rhymers out there. Like, it's just blows my mind what he's able to do sonically. There's nobody like him. You get him on a track, he's going to take over the track. Doesn't get nearly enough attention. Very self-contained with, people he works with and his label and his sound up there in Lynn, Massachusetts. But make sure you're tapped into Este Nac, like, great rapper. This is a single, Slipstream single from Dim Star, but it features Billy Woods. And this one's really cool because when I was up seeing the Woods show in Chicago before the show, got to connect with Woods. Was looking at the different merch and vinyl, which I already own everything, so there was nothing really there for me. But, I told him I didn't have this one, and Woods gifted this to me, So, like, what an awesome guy. I've been a fan for supporting that label forever. And, he treats me like family, like being able to just have this for free, So it's a really great song, though. So whether you cop this on vinyl or just add it to your playlists, make sure this Billy Woods feature is on your playlist. It's a great song. Now we're going back into stuff that dropped in 24, but I just acquired. Still really want to, highlight this stuff. This is August Fanon and Black Shy. When I say that Black Shy is one of the best MCs in the world right now, I am not being hyperbolic. Like, every verse this guy puts out is like, I need to stop in my tracks and listen to it, because he gets busy. Like, the way that he rhymes, the way he stacks his stuff together, like, is nobody like him. And he's so committed to his form and his craft. And you get him together with August Fanon. I mean, man, like, it's going to be a big year for both of these guys next year. It was already, a really big year for August Fanon this year, but Black Shy is one to watch. The best is yet to come from him. This is Bruiser Wolf's album from last year, My Stories Got Stories. Fabulous album. Everything Bruiser puts out is fabulous. Like, I think he found a little bit more of his lane this year than he did with this album. I don't know if this album did quite as well as the albums he put out this year, but it's still like a really great album. It has some really good personal songs on there, and you really kind of learn a lot more about Bruiser listening to this album. This is a really special release. This is 2 EPs that Lucid put out on Backwood Studios in 2016 and 2017, Valley of Grace and Osage. And this is just a big reason why Backwood Studios is the best label out there, because this is what you want labels to do. These EPs are classic. They've been around. They've never been released in like physical form, like on and maybe there were tapes on 1 or 2 of them. I can't remember. But to have both of these one on, in one vinyl release is just the kind of creative packaging that we want as music fans. We want to hear the stuff that hasn't been available before. We want to hear combos of 2 different EPs together like this. Just like a real treat for anyone who's been locked in to Backwood Studios to get these two projects like that. This one is a holy grail for me. Bulletproof La Hertz from Makami. Over the years, definitely spent way too much money on Makami merchandise, vinyl mainly. But this is one that I have no regret buying this year. One of my favorite Makami projects back when, 2017, 2018, when it was really a lot of buzz around Mach. This album and the GAT were almost impossible to find for a while there. And even if you could find them, you'd get like really low quality. So it's, to have it on vinyl and then also to combine it with Bulletproof Love, which was another release. You got them both together. This is a really special release to me. Makami's a special artist. I got to see him perform up in Chicago this year, which was really cool. But this is not one that I regret dropping a lot of money on. Bulletproof La Hertz, like really, really cool release. Now we got a gang of 24 releases from the great Akai Solo. Another artist that I got to see recently perform up in Chicago. First time I've gotten to see Akai perform, and what a unique artist, what a prolific artist. I've been buying his vinyl since day one. Anything he puts out, he put a new one out this year. It hasn't been released on vinyl yet, but it might be his best album, and that will definitely be one that I'll be adding to my collection when it comes out. All of these albums are great. I think Verticality, Singularity might be my favorite, but Dream Drop Dragon, Only the Strong Remain. You can't go wrong with Akai Solo. Like, you're gonna get lessons learned, you're gonna get perspectives, you're gonna get honest thought anytime you listen to an Akai Solo project. Now we got more from Pink Sifu, 24 releases. Pink Sifu put out 4 separate Bandcamp mixtapes, Got Food at the Crib, in 2024. And they were very underheard because they weren't on other streaming services. You had to pay to get them, to listen to them. And while in a way they're minor works in his catalog because they weren't fully fleshed out official releases, I mean, it's the same quality that you always get with Pink Sifu. Same variety, like, just, you know, the artwork is super cool on all of these. Just, Pink Sifu is the best. You cannot go wrong with anything this man has ever done. Support Pink Sifu. Like, you will not regret it. This right here is Gyroscope. This was an album from 2021 they made with Montana Max, and the reason why I have this year is that they did a release show for this up in Chicago, put on by my guy Rich Jones, that I went up there to see. They had Quelle Chris DJing at this event. The Gyroscope guys are also members of Tomorrow Kings. So not only did I get to see them perform here at the Gyroscope show in Chicago, but then Tomorrow Kings show, which is, you know, a few weeks or a month later, got to see them perform again there. And they're incredible live performers. Definitely standout MCs in the Tomorrow Kings. But they've had another album that's come out since this came out. Check out anything that Gyroscope, Tomorrow Kings do, like some of the best in Chicago. This right here is one of my favorite albums of all time. MF Grimm, The Downfall of Iblis, a ghetto opera. It's an album that I already had on vinyl that I tracked down like years ago, but this was a new repress edition. I happened to get #1 of 250. I mean, how can you beat that? Like, when I say that in the early 2000s when I was an MF Doom obsessive, that MF Grimm was like right there with me, like, I'm not lying. They were like two sides of a coin. I thought they complemented each other so well, and MF Grimm's music affected me in a way that few ever have in my life. I mean, this album was recorded in 24 hours while he was on bail before serving a years-long sentence in prison. The urgency with what it was recorded, some of the metaphors on this album, the concept songs that he has on this album, true artist who put out a lot of work after this that I'm a huge fan of, but this album is an all-time classic and more people need to be aware of it. Another older one that's even before my time, Cenobites. Like, this was, you know, mid to late 90s when I was really getting into hip-hop and doing the knowledge on stuff that came before. Kool Keith was obviously one of those MCs that you need to study, and you find an album like this. You got Godfather Don on there too. I think this is where I got introduced to Godfather Don, by listening to this. He became an MC that I was a huge fan of subsequently, but, you know, listening to all the Kool Keith stuff, like back in the day after getting hip to him, this was always one of my favorite albums that Kool Keith was involved with. You got, you know, Bobbito saying rhymes on here. Like, you got an early Cage on bonus tracks on here saying rhymes. So this is a lot of history on this release, and I'm really glad that it got put out this year. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is an album called Free Ray Long from Ray Long. Ray Long is an MC that not many people know. If you know who Tommy Gunn, Megalon, was, who used to do a lot of work with MF Doom and his own Operation Doomsday, Ray Long is his brother, and they had a lot of work together. Ray Long had work with Monster Island Czars, but a very unique street MC, extremely grimy and funny. Not many people sound like Ray Long, and this is like, every time I listen to it, it just feels like a treat, because I know I'm one of the few that's really tapped in. I mean, song at the end that closes it off, Get a Load, just really classic hip hop from this era. And anything you can find from Ray Long, I highly encourage you to seek out. So that's the video for today. I told you it was going to be a little long. There was a lot to get to, but I hope there's something that you saw in there that you weren't aware of, or that you learned a little bit more about, or something that you did know about that, you know, you just like seeing up there and getting some recognition. You know, these are all like incredibly special artists, and that's what I'm here for, is to share what they're doing so that it has the biggest platform possible. And you know, there'll be a lot more videos to come, shorter than this, focusing on individual pieces, going a little bit more in depth in the context of those pieces. But this gives you, I hope, some good insight into the type of collector I am and what type of vinyl I like to collect, especially in the hip hop space. So, you know, till next time, peace out, Uncle Benji.